Hi, Fred. Could you please start your cam?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Yes, it's me.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, sir.
I feel really sorry for this inconvenience because it has been late for three minutes. 3 minutes is very critical, you know. Anyhow, so I would like to welcome all of you to the session of alternative issues of International Congress of Emerging Trends in Tourism. First of all, I would like to introduce as a first presenter, Mr. Mete Ünal Girgen and Sharon N.A. Damina. I guess I pronounced that in the correct way.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
Okay. What's that? Is that Damina?
Yes, that's perfect, Damina.
That's okay. Okay, Damina. Thank you very much. Yes, that's your turn. Please, let's start beforehand and learn and listen about your great presentation.
Okay,
yours.
Thank you.
The floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon, and unfortunately, Dr. Ünal Girgen won't be here today. He's currently in quarantine, as am I. But I'll be presenting today on behalf of us. Okay?
No problem.
All right, let me share my screen. Okay, can everyone see what I'm seeing?
Yes, I can see the presentation now.
Okay. Okay. All right. So this research paper was on the topic of the effects of ingenuity, job motivation, and social support on employees' performance. Now, we did this paper on a case study with North Cyprus in question. So everything, data analysis, data collection was done here in North Cyprus, and hence the presentation today. So this body of work was examined through ingenuity to establish the effects of ingenuity, job motivation, social support on employees here in North Cyprus. And we picked 4 different tourist organizations, which are hotels, resorts, spas, to carry out this analysis here. So with performance, this has set precedents for workforce officials and employers to venture into possible factors in the workforce to determine the effects of performance on employees, be it negative or positive in our sector, in our tourist sector, tourism industry today. Good. So this highlight was based off of articles by Chowdhury in 2014 and Sahir in 2018. We reviewed about 60, 70 articles to be able to carry out this research paper. And this particular highlight that you're seeing on your screen now was based off of an article by Chowdhury in 2014. So job motivation and performance are one of the 2 highly researched managerial effects in the tourism industry or whatever industry you find yourself in to ascertain job motivation, job performance, and employee commitment to the job are one of the some of the most highly researched managerial literatures. Furthermore, we are going to look at 3 variables that we applied in this study, which is ingenuity, job motivation, and social support. These are independent variables that we applied, and how it affects to employees and performance, which was the dependent variable in this paper. So ingenuity being how employees, how it affects their behaviors to doing the job or working in whatever sector or department that they're able to work in. So this has to do with the role that the employee plays towards enhancing performance in the organization or in the industry. Job motivation, what are the things that employers or workforce officials that help to or provide employees with the proper motivation or the proper skill set to be able to carry out their job to the maximum efficiency. And then social support, what are the cultural norms or societal norms surrounding whatever work or whatever job or skill that they're able to present to be able to do their job to the maximum efficiency, and how all of this relates to employee performance. So that is what this research paper tested. And like I said before, we reviewed about 60 articles. So this slide, we're going to talk about the methods and materials that we applied. So first of all, before doing this research, what we did was we reviewed 60 to 65, if I'm being correct. I don't know the exact number, but about that much. And we proceeded to find our scale of measurements. So finding scale of measurements through the articles as well, and mostly 3 people that we mostly focused on was Child Hurry and his article in Study of Role of Leadership Styles and Employee Motivation. This was in 2014. And Lynn M. with her study of social support and questionnaire samples that we were able to retrieve information from and apply in this particular study. So this study was affected ingenuity, job motivation, and social support. It was measured by 6 items measured provided by Eğilimler in 2020, job motivation, which was a measure by work motivation scale through Child Hurry in 2014, and social support, which provided a social support questionnaire of 6 item support scales developed by Lee and McGrath in 2018. So let's talk about the data collection and analysis that we applied in this study. In this study, we decided to base our paper on 4 different hotels in Cyprus, in Çatalköy region, in Kyrenia and Girne altogether anyway, because these hotels are situated at different places, hence the picking them. Yes. The participants were sampled through convenient sampling, meaning that they were approached at their point of duty and questionnaires were handed to them and they were able to fill and answer to the best of their ability, hence the paper, hence the data collected through convenient sampling. And then the data study was analyzed with factorial, ANOVA, and statistics, using the statistical package for social sciences, which is SPSS version 2023. I believe this is one of the recent versions of that statistical package, and ANOVA as well, which was very helpful to be able to determine specific numbers and ratios and gradients in this paper. So next, these were the results. We had 3 hypotheses that were based on our independent variables to be able to show us results depending on the main dependent variable. So the first hypothesis showed that there was no significant main effect of ingenuity on job performance, which means that we rejected that the null hypothesis to this one, and this was because the significance was tested at 0.05. And the second hypothesis showed that there is no significant main effect of social support on job performance, which means that we accepted this hypothesis because it was at 0.05%. And then the third hypothesis was there was no significant main effect of job motivation on social performance, and we accepted this hypothesis, which was positive, okay, at 0.05. So after doing all this analysis and data collection and testing hypothesis and all of that, we're able to come to results and conclusion as well. This is a very short presentation because the paper was a short one as well. The study found ingenuity and job motivation to affect job performance. So hence the hypothesis of positive or negative results. And one reason for that was because majority of the participants that were taking in the study were taking on unskilled jobs. I'm talking jobs that required minimal educational background and where you were able to be employed without the highest level of education. So from jobs of cleaners and chefs in the kitchen down to receptionists, and no big managerial positions were tested, just your basic participants working in jobs that were not particularly necessary high in the organizational scale. And then nevertheless, since job motivation was found to be a significant predictor of job performance, it was important that the management of hotels projects motivational factors towards her employee in order to gain higher levels of performance. This basically means that work officials and hotel employers need to be able to factor out a sustainable method of job motivation to provide to their workers, whether it's from unskilled jobs or through formal training, seminars, and providing them with the proper skill sets and providing them with incentives as well to be able to procure more effective employee performance on whatever job sector that they're working in, or or department that we're working in. And the reason for this is because we mostly focus on hotels. So I'm speaking from that point of view. I'm sure this is applicable to every other point as well, but mainly because of that. Thank you for listening. Very short, but I hope I was able to do a good job. Thank you.
Oh.
We can't hear you. I can hear you.
I thought it was just me.
No, I can't hear you, sir. Still cannot hear you.
Can't hear you. Click the blue microphone symbol above the head of the person in the middle of our row. It's at the top of the screen.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yes. Told me what to do.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now, Ms. Damina, I'm sorry. I do thank you very much for your punctual presentation. It was a great presentation, actually. So I'm sure the study is gonna provide great infrastructure and to produce practical and theoretical implication for the industry and for the literature as well. Thank you very much. Any questions to be asked for this presentation? No questions? Okay, Mr. Ünsal, we cannot get to hear you because your microphone is turned off, I guess. If you have any questions. Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
Are you going to ask questions?
No, I'm not going to ask now.
No questions. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's give the microphone to Mohd Isa Salahia. I beg for your pardon if I'm mistaken your name and surname. So, PhD Hayrul Nizam Ismail and PhD Zatul Ifran Mohd Fuza. Okay, I think who is going to present the study? We cannot get to hear you, by the way. Could you please turn on your microphone on the bottom of your screen? It's going to be an interesting study with the title Women Entrepreneurship and Tourism, Patterns and Trends. Okay, Salih Ahmed Isa, I think the floor is yours.
I can't hear anything.
Me neither, unfortunately. Salih, there's something wrong with your connection.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so meaning that I cannot use my headphone. All right.
Okay, your turn now.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor.
You have 10 minutes.
All right, okay. So
Here you
my
go,
name is Raiha binti Muhammad Isa. So today I'm going to share a little bit on my current study. So I'm actually in the first year of my study of PhD. And this is actually just a concept paper. So it has to do with, sorry, where's my screen? I need to share. Sorry, I need to turn off first.
What's going on here?
Okay.
Oh, that's better. Oh no, there's a noise. There's a background noise.
Okay, there's a background noise.
Yeah.
Let me turn off others' microphone for a while.
I'll turn mine off too.
No, that's your microphone, Suliha, Mohd Isa. There is something wrong with your...
Okay, now? How about it?
There is some kind of buzz or some different sounds.
Okay, hold on. How about that? Now?
It is still the same, unfortunately. Anyhow, let's try to carry on in this way because we have limited time. That's why let's go on and try to present and listen to you. Here you go, please.
Okay, hold on. Let me share. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm very sorry for the disturbance of the noise, because it's it's not appearing at my end of the slide. Okay, so I just go quick. So this is my topic. My name is actually pronounced as Sulaiha. Okay, so you can call me Sue as well. Okay, so this is my topic, women entrepreneurship and tourism patterns and trends. Okay, so together the paper is supervised by Associate Professor, Tom Planner, Dr. Hairul Nizam Ismail, and Dr. Zatu Ifa Muhammad Fuza. So basically this is the content. So I have 5 points here: the introduction, scope of review, methodology, findings, and conclusions. Okay, so first we will go through the introduction, so the background, the research objective, and also the research question of the study. So basically when we talk about women entrepreneurs, we are talking about gender perspective. So we in the study, it mentioned that the gender perspective is actually integrating gender into the discussion of tourism as an particularly important point. So the tourism industry actually is a major employer of for women, since women compose of 50% of the population worldwide. It also offers various opportunities for income generating activities, improve women's standards of living. Now, scholars have recently shown considerable interest in issues pertaining to women entrepreneurs and tourism sector. If before this they are looking at the economic and business point, now they are also focusing on the tourism industry. So however, in my study, I found that there is a lacking of SLR or systematic literature review studies that summarize issues related to women entrepreneurship in tourism. So therefore, my research objective is to track the progress of women entrepreneurs in tourism literature. And henceforth, the research questions to guide my research objective is 2. So number 1 is, what is the research profile of the studies examining women entrepreneurship issues in tourism? And the second is, what are the dominant thematic research areas related to women entrepreneurship issues in tourism? So the scope of review is composed of 3 parts: the gender equality, or discussing about women, entrepreneurship, as well as tourism. So as we all know, gender equality is one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To be precise, it is actually the SDG number 5. So participation by women is visioned as an important from both economic and also global in the global perspective. So in terms of entrepreneurship, one of the most effective ways to bring women to the forefront of economic participation is through a fertile field for entrepreneur initiative, which is because tourism is actually a diverse, dynamic, and flexible in nature. So potentially, tourism have the power, have the sources to empower sector for women entrepreneurs. So the method is actually I'm cataloging and synthesizing the body of literature using a time-tested SLR method. So hence using the NVivo apps. So I could identify the quantitative research profile and also the qualitative content analysis. Okay, so basically this is the methodology. Okay, so if you can see here, this is all the steps that we have to go through. So defining what are the objectives, defining the scope, and then identifying the research article. So using a keyword, a string of keywords, okay, and then the keywords are identified through Google Scholar, and the journals is identified because we are actually only focusing on high impact journals. So we are looking at Web of Science and Scopus journals only. So step 4 is to filter the studies, okay, and from filtering the studies, is looking at the titles and the abstract. So there is a remaining of 111 articles. And then we had to go to full text reading. Okay, so there are some inclusion and exclusion steps that needs to be taken. And the last step for this paper, we ended up with 17 relevant articles. And these articles, and then we identify the thematic analysis, the research gaps and future direction, and also the conclusion. So what are the findings? So let's look at number one. So the first one is the research profile. So out of the 17 articles that we go through, okay, so the articles are mainly in 2021, which is in the current year. So meaning that the trend is very current. Okay, so it started to bloom since 2019 up to 2021. So the main journal here we can see is in the Sustainability Switzerland or Journal of Sustainable Tourism, both in which they are actually in the social science subjects. So the location, so basically most of the journals, okay, is from the European countries. So we can see here, okay, which is most when we talk with this when scholars discuss about women entrepreneurs in tourism, okay, the top destination location of what we call the study is actually located in Sweden. Okay, this is followed by Asia, but however, only China is the most article found, okay, related to the topic, and then followed by North America, Oceania, and also Africa subcontinent. Okay, so the keyword string, since the title is using woman entrepreneur, so when we talk about woman entrepreneur, the key string is actually looking at the development, the empowerment of women, okay, and also gender equality. But when we search for the key string for tourism, it's actually go back to female entrepreneurs. So gender entrepreneurs, woman entrepreneur and female entrepreneur is actually the same thing. Okay. So the second research question is, what are the dominant thematic research areas? We found that there are 6 dominant thematic research areas, which are the personality traits, the motivation, the resistance, the innovativeness, the performance, and also the successions. Okay, so the main thing crucial about women entrepreneurs is that they have autonomy, control, and independence, because we know that the entrepreneurs is actually basically they are small firms, okay, known mostly by SMEs, okay, small medium enterprises. But for the women entrepreneurs in tourism, they are known as small medium tourism entrepreneurs. Okay, and also they are more diverse ages. Okay, they have quite important and relevant skills. And what is interesting about women entrepreneurs is that they actually do have global working experiences before they partake into the business, and their motivation is actually to improve livelihoods. Okay, and because of they gain a lot of support from the institution, from the social, and also from the co-preneurship. This co-preneurship can be from their spouses, okay, and their husband, or because of, okay, sorry, that one, the last one is father and daughter relationship. So the next one is the resistance. Okay, and so there are a large number of women entrepreneurs because of the problematic or the problem that they need to face with, and the main concern is dealing with the legitimacy and capability concerns, because there are a lot of articles talking about the stereotypical role of a woman, which they are the mother, the daughter, okay, they need to provide for the family. And there are also issues on limited resources, financial
by the way, Mr. Saliha, I beg your pardon, it has been high time for your presentation.
Okay,
please,
all right. Okay, so can I just quickly end the presentation?
Please, briefly, all right. Briefly reach the conclusion. Right.
All right, okay. So this is innovativeness, performance, and succession. So succession is talking about the inheritance. So the conclusion here is that women entrepreneurs' involvement is really crucial, because in tourism worldwide, there is still low participation of women entrepreneurs, despite scholars highlights on their importance to both the economic and sustainable development. The proactive measures is taken in needs to be taken by local authorities in order to uplift their local participation to venture into entrepreneurship, generating sufficient income for livelihood and survival. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you very much, Sulaiha. Thank you for your hot and lovely presentation. It's a very critical topic: women entrepreneurship and tourism, patterns and trends. Yeah. Okay, women. The introduction of, I mean, the integration of women in business world is critical in all sectors, and as well as tourism. And your study is a kind of qualitative, includes the qualitative data analysis like in vivo. That's again worth, you know, being shared in literature as well. I hope it's going to be success for you. Thank you very much for your timely presentation. Okay, now I would love to share the ground to Fırat Ünsal. He's gonna present his presentation about title with tourism and foreign language. I hope it's gonna be a very important presentation, because foreign language is everywhere in tourism, because tourism is international. So yes, your turn, Mr. Ünsal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your presentations as well. I'm going to present my presentation about tourism and foreign languages. As everybody knows, the foreign language is the key element of the many sectors. So foreign language for tourism, it is very important. So I would like, I want to introduce myself first of all. I'm a tour guide. I'm doing guide in Norwegian, Swedish, and Turkish as well. But I'm going to present my presentation in English today. I hope it's going to be helpful for everyone. So I'm going to share now my screen with you. I hope you can see it. Do you see it, sir?
Yes, it is clear. But I think for the first earlier presentations, the presentations were all still and they were stagnant there. So if you can share, screen share, it would be better, I guess. Okay, your turn now. Thank you.
Yeah, it is on the right side. If you upload to your presentation, then you can say share with the other ones, so everyone can see this one. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So first of all, I would like to start with, to have another language is to possess a second language. Everybody knows this one. Yeah, bilinguals are very important nowadays. Multilingual language remains the most potent vessel for human communication, not only for tourism, but also for in other sectors as well. It is quite obvious that high level of language literacy in English and other languages establish important foreign relations between other nations. English language is the first most used language, either as first, second, or for official communication majority of human interactions. Wherever you go nowadays, you need to communicate with others with a language. So this is English, and English, as we can say, this is the tourism language. Tourism plays a significant role. Why intercultural contexts contribute to the development of intercultural dialogue, raising awareness of the importance of the foreign language proficiency, as well as fostering the development of intercultural competence in the area of tourism industry is extremely important. First of all, this paper aims to provide a general information to tourism and foreign language learning. Next, the paper will give brief information about the importance of the language and cultural exchange. Everybody knows that if you speak a language, you need to exchange the cultures. Yeah, you need to know, you need to get some information about the other cultures as well. Not only the language, but the culture is very important. The foods, the customs, the wearings, and everything is very important in this one. And also, I will try to demonstrate its importance in the tourist industry. You hear me?
Yeah, but there was just a bit, a bleep, a bit.
Yeah, Nelson, everybody knows Nelson Mandela, I think. He says, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. So in this industry, speaking language is very important for everyone. Language is the primary and the most elaborate form of human communication with the use of language. It is oral and written form. Humans are able to communicate and express their feelings within the cultural norms. The increasing social awareness resulting from the increasing sophisticated and dynamic form of the human activities led equally to the sophisticated of language, from merely a rustic means of communication to a very complex tool of modern information and communication. Thus, it can be seen that language developed and kept developing as a factor of natural human desire to make communication and interaction with one another in any other languages. A foreign language plays a crucial role in tourism sector to make comprehensive communication. Organizations should benefit from useful foreign language skills, establish better mutual and international relationships. In the recent decade, there have been a significant developments in tourism industry and tourism management to ability establish effective communication with the people of the world is a strategy of creating distinct advantages in the competitive business worldwide. The mastery of one or more foreign languages can help people get one step ahead in the global business. English is the predominant language in international communication. English is not only the global language of tourism industry, but also the primary language of the international communication. Tourism development and the role of language. What is the role in the tourism industry? The language is a system of spoken or written symbols which can connect ideas, emotions, and experiences. Understanding the role language by organizations enables them to enhance their proficiency, employ new technologies, increase customer satisfaction, and have effective management in the tourism industry. Since English has become international and fourth widely spoken language in the world, and in terms of English speakers, it is the most spoken official language, it is increasingly necessary for tourism professionals to develop their English language skills so they can fulfill the needs of tourists as well. And we have, when learning a language, we have receptive and productive skills. What are they? Receptive skills include understanding when listening and reading, while receiving and decoding the language to understand a message. But productive skills, which is more important and difficult than the receptive one, include writing and speaking when the language is used to convey the message to others through writing and speaking. The receptive skills are essential parts of skills and the base for some parts of productive ones. For example, acquiring reading skill may have developed writing skill, while learning a foreign language. Receptive skills are used first and followed by practical application to productive skills. Not having applied one of them, the learning process, the results will not be complete. Once all these layers are successfully incorporated, it means that uniting receptive and productive skills is applied effectively, and language learning occurs, then desired results, which is communication, can be achieved. Without the productive and deductive, it's nothing. Listening skills. When learning a language, we need to know 4 skills, which are listening skills, speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills. Listening skill is an important skill where one receives the others' messages, and greater listening skills is more effective communication becomes. Speaking is the skill, one of the most important and the hardest skill in language learning. The vital function of the language is for interaction and communication. Reading skill is a receptive skill and essential to comprehend what is read. Writing skill is same as with the speaking skill. It is methods and decisions making employed by writers when they write, writing a complex process, planning, drafting, reviewing, and revising. I hope we have the time for this one.
Mr. Ünsal, unfortunately, I should inform you that you have just 1 minute or
sorry. You see, I'm trying to be quick, but I think
please in brief.
Sorry for this. So I can say this: English language skills, productive skills, and reductive skills: writing, speaking, reading, listening. English education. The education plays a crucial role in tourism industry. Effective communication, then tourism development, which we have nowadays in our country. There are many foreigners from other countries. They come here, but the most important problem with us and with the tourists is communication. So it is hard to share your feelings, your culture, your customs. Without a language, it is going to be very difficult then. And I'm going to multilingualism in the word nowadays. The proficiency in multiple foreign languages is basic way for successful communication in tourism industry. Nowadays, many European Union, European language policies are moving towards and teaching at least 2 foreign languages. We have the same things in our schools, in high schools, and the university level. Every student learns English as well as German with this one. And I think it is important promoting intercultural communication. So it is important to share the intercultural things. The development of tourism industry is one of the best and most serious options of developing countries to change. For our country, it is the most important, is the key elements of the economy. I believe that if you make changes in your tourism industry, so your country will be well known and by other cultures as well. Sorry, I think I'm going to finish now.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, sir.
Mr. Ünal, thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, first of all, I should say a few words about this. First of all, the topic is very comprehensive, and this study can be aligned to tourism much more in the form of, for example, tourism management or hospitality service industry, because it's a very critical topic. We have informed about the interpretation of descriptive linguistic nature of language, first of all, like the receptive skills and the productive skills.
Yes.
There's a kind of linguistic ways, unfortunately, we need great organizations for integrating language skills into tourism business and industry and service management.
Definitely.
Of course. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Any questions asked, by the way, Mr. Ünal? Do you have any questions, presentation?
No, thank you very much, sir, for listening. Thank you very much.
Can I have a time for a quick question, or is there not time?
Yeah, you can ask the question. Jessica speaking, I guess, right? Hello, by the way. Okay.
Because I am speaking next.
Please ask questions to whatever speaker, presenter you wish, because I forget to let you ask your questions to Saleha,
don't worry.
and I beg your pardon for that. Okay, please ask questions if you wish.
Thanks, Firat, for your interesting presentation. I love everything to do with language, and unfortunately, it's very difficult to get an academic publication with language when we're looking at management science. So what I would like to say, it's not really a question, it's more of an observation, is that I'm on the other end of this debate because I'm British and I live in France, and I am infuriated with the way in which native English speakers make no effort to learn another language. And I would to say, well done to you all of you who are bilingual, trilingual, polyglot, because that's more than what native English speakers are. And we can blame Queen Victoria, who said, if you want to trade with us, speak English.
You're welcome.
That's the end of my rant.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you, Ms. Jessica. Okay, Any more questions to Mr. Ünsal? Do you have any questions? No questions, I guess. Okay, okay. Let's go on with Jessica Litchi.
Yeah, I uploaded my presentation.
Is that Litchi, by the way? I beg your pardon. Litchi is the correct word?
You're right. You're right. It's Litchi.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much. She's gonna present about managing professors' frontiers, academic tourism revisited, titled presentation. Yeah. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Jessica.
Great. Thank you. So I had the presentations loaded onto the screen share, but the previous presentation has removed them. Do you have access to them at all, or should I try and try?
Unfortunately, I cannot get to see yours here.
I'm going to show it again.
You can screen share that if possible.
How about this? Can you see this now?
Okay, I guess that's fine.
Can you see this?
Okay, we see this. Okay, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be carried on or it's not still.
This is slide 2. Can you see slide 2?
Yeah, I can see.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. So this short presentation is about managing Professeurs Sans Frontières, which is based on the expression Médecins Sans Frontières. So this is how the teachers of the world move around from one seat of learning, one university to another, and how we share our skills. And I'm going to explain how this comes into tourism. So if we look at the background to this field of research, we see that a lot of travel and tourism theories, concepts, frameworks, and models are based on this notion of push and pull factors, what makes people move from A to B. And at the basis of a lot of the theoretical underpinning, we can see a lot of links with the notion of tourism. Why do people do it? And there's a very heavy emphasis on the leisure focus. So because it's so emphasizing people's leisure time, downtime, their private life, this fails to reflect the changing landscape of business travel. And this is the genesis of my study. I'm an academic who travels from France to Russia, China, Finland, and England to teach there, to do research there. And when I am abroad, it's not a holiday, but some of my colleagues believe it is a holiday. And this was really the genesis for doing this article, to show people that when we're abroad, we're actually working more than when we're at home, because we don't have the same barriers and the same obstacles like a spouse and children, washing, shopping, etc. So we're actually more productive. And to get that message across, I had to write an article on it. So one way in which this concept is referred to in the international business press is bleisure, which is the hybrid of business and leisure. It's not a very nice word, I agree with you, but it's gaining credibility. It came out in 2014, and now most people are okay with understanding what bleisure means. So when you talk to your colleagues about I'm going abroad to teach, they generally think you're doing these kinds of activities. Now, my kids think I'm skiing, my friends think I'm standing on a stage, my colleagues think I'm drinking tea, my employer thinks I'm buying vodka. In the middle is what I think I do, and bottom right is what I really do. So there's a lot of different dimensions, just 6 there, but it's multifaceted. When we travel abroad to teach, to do research, for academic collaboration, it's not just in the same sense as the theory has described it, you're motivated to go from A to B by these factors. It's multifactorial. So if you look behind all of the studies which have been done in this direction, it connects us with the notion that travel and tourism, academic ability, students studying abroad, student mobility, it connects with the idea of the marketization of higher education and how there are much greater flows of academic mobility, student mobility, and training mobility. So we send staff abroad, we attract students from abroad. In some of the studies were called academic tourists, which clearly puts the emphasis on the concept of holiday. At the moment, we know that there are 10 times more students than teachers who engage with Erasmus. So there's something happening which is preventing people engaging with teaching mobility. It's nevertheless the notion of academic mobility become very central to the work of international organisations like Erasmus, Study Abroad, the NOR Plus or the Fairbright organisations. But as we stand today at the time of writing, there's a general lack of information about what actually motivates academic staff to travel. And though the work that he put forward a decade ago, he still argues that business schools are shockingly national and even regional in their organisation scope, which really sums up the idea that we all want to be international, we want to be considered as international educators, and yet we don't do very much except use anecdotal evidence and case studies when we're trying to share that international experience. So if you look at the literature on what could be the possible barriers, the fault lines, the obstacles and difficulties, again, we come back to the notion of language, but also culture and language. And there's also an element of self-confidence. There are some teachers that don't feel comfortable going outside their comfort zone to teach. They're used to a particular way of teaching, a particular student psyche, and they don't want to move away from that and put themselves in a position where they have to question their pedagogical skills. But above all, and I really like this, psychic distance. So this bundles up all of the top three into one, and it really shows how it's more than culture. You know, it's more than what we do, what we see. And the example I'm giving you here is that for the average British person, there's a smaller psychic distance between a Brit and a Brit going to New Zealand than a Brit going to France, which is just across the English Channel, because it's the same language, there's a cultural similarity, there are points of reference that we can connect with. So psychic distance is really something interesting in terms of leisure, because quite often, if we have the choice to travel, we will go to places that we're not familiar with. We like to put ourselves in a certain amount of danger, a calculated risk. Some literature refers to the work of Conway and Swift, who use conjoint analysis to show how relationship marketing can be used to reduce psychic distance. So following the steps for building relationships with marketing partners, we should use those same 5 steps that are on the bottom of this slide to try and overcome the barriers caused by psychic distance. So these are the theoretical constructs, and we really wanted to know, well, to what extent can these theoretical constructs be applied? So we have these 5 objectives that we set out to show, and it's really to get a more contemporary view of staff mobility, international staff mobility specifically. What might be the barriers? What's stopping people engaging in academic tourism? What could be the possible weaknesses to our understanding so far? What motivates people, and from that, can we identify categories or typologies of different types of academic tourists? So we used semi-structured interviews, and then we also used photo and images in what we call rich pictures, which was it's a great fun methodology to use. When you ask somebody to bring a photo, what represents international academic mobility for you? How do you connect with this idea? What motivates you to do it? So we shared our results from the interviews and the rich picture technique with the people who organise international mobility, directors and senior managers, and we tried to bring that together to cross-validate it. And this is a small sample of what people brought to us in the rich picture exercise. So these images in front of you, they sum up what people believe is international academic mobility. And you can see there's an element of, yes, in the classroom, teaching in an amphitheatre. There's also the cultural side to it of listening to street music, visiting heritage, relaxing with the students, presenting research at a conference, and sharing a cultural identity. So all of these are recent academic mobility souvenirs, if you like, that people brought along to the data collection. What we did from our data collection phase is to put together the results into a table from which we can clearly see that there's a certain number of motivating factors which help people or encourage people to engage with international mobility. So what really interested me was the way people engage with this, because they have an open mind, they want to discover something different, they want new skills, they want to test their competences, they want to do networking, they want to escape. or they just want recreation time out. A lot of barriers. There were more barriers than anything else, all expressed in different ways by the different people we interviewed, particularly personal circumstances. We found that a lot of academics create barriers. They say things like, I can't go abroad because of my wife, because of my husband, because of my children. So there seems to be a self-imposed barrier. There's quite a few people that don't want to really take the risk, and they cover up by using a lot of different excuses blamed on the family. Time constraints, some people have fixed timetables, they can't reorganize classes, they can't suddenly drop everything and go abroad. Funding, even more of a problem year on year than it was when I did the original data collection. It's expensive, it's an investment, but the return on investment is high. Management myopia is the term which I gave to the fact that a lot of people, the movers and shakers in top director positions, they really believe that international mobility is an international shopping trip, and it's only in extreme circumstances that people we spoke to in the data collection actually agreed this could be a good investment for a number of different reasons. So from that, we developed 4 distinct typologies of starters, early career, people wanting to go abroad to get experience. The next phase, career builders. They want to improve their curriculum vitae in order to apply for a job elsewhere. An older group of senior academics. They're close to retirement and they really just want to share all their knowledge. It's very altruistic in its approach. And the last group, research active academics who are chasing publications. And that's why they go abroad, for data collection, for networking, to test the ideas. So 4 clear typologies came out of this. And where we are today is with wondering about what to do next. Do a cross-cultural comparison, look at academic mobility in other cultural markets, maybe do a longitudinal study to see what happens now we've gone through Trumpism and Brexit. How is this going to change the way we create our international collaboration? And one area that I've started to look at now is the marketization of higher education and how we are using the international dimension to get bums on seats, which should get students through the door, tell them we've got 104 international partners and a double diploma. Is this the right emphasis that we should be giving to international mobility? So in terms of practical implications, yes, there are managerial implications, but also particularly for practitioners, tourism services could think about offering more services for leisure tourists who are in a city for just 48 hours, and they maybe want a 2-hour tour, not a 5-day tour.
Ms. Lichi, I beg your pardon. It has been a high time for your presentation. Could you please make that a bit briefly in a few minutes then?
That's the end.
Oh, that was the end, right?
Yeah, that was tourism.
I would just think that your practical implication is going to be a bit longer because it's a very critical topic, and of course the topic is going to be much hotter in the future.
Sure.
If such virtual organizations are going to be hindrance for that, because this is a kind of academic share,
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I think just to come back to what you were saying, I think there are both opportunities and threats caused by the virtual dimension of leisure. I think it could be an ideal opportunity to share potential leisure opportunities from which people might actually, it's like virtual wine tasting. I'm working on sustainable wine production at the moment, and during COVID, there was quite a movement towards virtual wine tasting to get people interested, to understand the concept, with the idea that they will make that jump into in person. And I think tourism will do the same. Leisure will go the same direction as virtual wine tasting tourism, I hope.
Okay. Thank you very much for such very critical presentation, Ms. Jessica Lichi. Okay. Any questions to be added to Ms. Lichi? No questions? Okay.
Unbelievable. You're worse than my students. Okay. It's worse than my students.
No. It was great. All right. No. The presentation was great and so beneficial and worth, being seen on academic literature as well, because there is a lot to ask here. But unfortunately, we have limited time. For example, the future of academic tourists is questionable now, because it's going to be hardship, you know, for the humanity now, and we are all so restricted at homes. We are having conferences, even the conferences online or virtual atmosphere. So that's why, to what extent it's going to be survived or in a sustainable way. I mean, I'm talking about academic tourism. Anyhow, thank you very much. If you don't, other presenters are not going to ask questions, right? No questions? Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Jessica.
It's not Professor, but it's okay. You can call me Miss.
Miss, all right. Okay, Jess, all right. Or
no, Jessica.
Thank you. Okay, the last presenter. I'm gonna give the floor. The last presenter. I hope he is gonna be Mustafa Sabir Bozoğlu. Whether he's online, he's here or not.
Hocam merhaba.
Sabri hocam, could you please start your kamerayı bir açar mısın hocam?
Hocam, ben Serdar. Şimdi geldi hocam.
Okay, now the last presenter is going to be Assistant Professor Dr. Serdar Büyük İpekçi.
Yes.
He's going to present his presentation titled with Comparison of Physical and Physiological Effects of Continuous and Interval Running Training on Elite Adults.
Yes, thank you. This article related to sports. It is known that endurance training increases physiological adaptation. Training is the process of ensuring adaptation of the organism by repeating the exercise in a systematic way. For this reason, it should be not that different impacts of training on the adaptation of the organism may vary depending on the scope, severity, frequency, and duration of training. In addition,
By the way, Ms. Büyük İpekçi, could you please share your presentation? It would be beneficial for the presenter to get understand. If it's possible, it's fine with you.
There is Word, not PowerPoint soon.
No problem then. You carry on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In this sense, it is possible to optimize and adapt physical and physiological performance in sports with interval and continuous running training. However, the results about which method is effective and contradictory, the conflicting situations that exist are often due to the variation in scope, duration, and intensities of training that are inherently included in each program, but are often not considered in detail. While continuous submaximal running training is effect on the body's oxygen transport system, high intensity interval training has the greatest impact on the structural and biochemical properties of the muscle. A physiological basis of both form of training is discussed, and year-round training and training recommendations are made to increase to the anaerobic threshold. Compared to continuous running, interval running allows the athlete to maintain a higher intensity and train longer at highest intensities. Depending on the purpose of the training, these variables can be modified to provide countless different combinations. Students or on athletes with high training adaptation indicate that the best training impact, namely increased loading volume and oxygen delivery, is achieved, and intensities However, each interval program has different effect on difficult levels. Material and methods. 80 university students with an average age between 20 25 who do not exercise regularly have participants in the study voluntarily. Athletes participating in the study are randomly divided into two groups as interval training and 9 people and continuous runs 9 people training group. Both groups were subject to interval and continuous running training for 8-week training program. A running program suitable for the distance to be run and maximal heart rate value properties were applied within the scope of athlete training method. Continuous running training program. After determining the maximum heart rate of the athletes participating in the study, continuous training program was applied with 30 the heart rate in approximately 5 or 6 kilometer distance was weak on adaptation training. Interval training program has been prepared is accordance the short and medium term interval methods. Measuring methods, weight measurement and vertical jump, standing long jump, 20 meter speed, sit and reach test, Cooper test, balance test, and Cooper test and balance test. Vertical jump test. For pre-test measurement, athletes were asked to stand upright with the soles of their feet fully contracting the ground, extend their arms closer to the vertical jumping board fully upward, and the highest point was marked. Then the subjects was asked to touch the highest point he or she could reach, and the distance between the highest point could reach by jumping and the point reached by the arm length was recorded is centimeters. Cooper test athletes participating in the study were asked to run the maximum distance they can in 12 minutes. Lap times in each 400 meters were verbally reported to the athletes. Balance test. As can be seen, it was seen that the change in body weight of interval training and continuous running group before and after the training process was statistically significant. Also, as can be seen from the change in the Cooper test value of the interval training and continuous running groups before and after the training process was also found to be statistically significant. When table 3 was examined, it was observed that the change in the standing long jump values of the interval training group before and after the training process was statistically significant, while the change in the continuous running group was not statistically significant. Other table it was observed observed that the change in the sit and reach test values of the interval training group before and after the training process was statistical significant, while the change in the continuous running group was not statistical significant. Discussion and conclusions. While continuous running training show its greatest impact on the body's oxygen transport system, interval endurance training has the greatest impact on the structural and biochemical properties of the muscle. The physiological basis of the both training method is discussed, and regular training throughout the year is important to increase the anaerobic threshold, and individuals has been max oxygen has been noted to constitute one of the most important determinant of aerobic endurance.
Mr. Büyükipekçi, I beg your pardon because I need to disrupt you because you have already reached to the end of the time allowed. Could you please
Yes.
say that in briefly with the conclusion
Okay.
and the results?
Okay. Performance or capacity and numerous students have investigated overall difference in oxygen peak among individuals of different ages. As a result, it is seen that both continuous running and interval running trainings provide significant change on the physical and physiological characteristics of elite adults. In addition, when the two training methods were compared, it was concluded that the results obtained in motor performance after interval training were higher than those of continuous running. In studies where the effects of the both training method will be observed in different ages and groups, it may be recommended to conduct more research on duration, frequency, and intensity. Thank you for listening to me. This article related to sports. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Büyükipekçi, for your presentation. I wonder whether we have questions to ask Mr. İpekçi about his presentation. Any questions from other presenters or from the guests? No questions. Okay, thank you very much. This is the end of our session now. Thank you for all of you very much. First of all, Jessica Lichi, it was great. It was great to see you here, and Miss Domina, and Sulahia, and Mr. Ünsal and Büyükipekçi. I hope to meet you in physical, person by person, in the future, somewhere on Earth. Thank you very much for your all presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciateful. I mean, we are very grateful to everybody joining from different parts of the world. Thank you very much, and see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.